In this episode, we're going to be talking with Rachel Cruze about money habits that are hurting you and ones that are helping you.
Welcome to Thriving Launch with Louise Congdon and Kamala Chambers, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all.
5 days a week, we bring you different segments to inspire you to live a life of freedom. We interview the leading experts in the field of business, health, and love. Be sure to check out Training Tuesdays, where we give you a clear action plan to grow your own business.
Do you have a product or service that you would like to sell online? Or maybe you've been thinking about it, but you're reserved to do it because you need a website, you need complicated systems, and you need to spend money? Well, I've created a completely free course that teaches you how to use Facebook in a purely organic way. This means no ads and no money are needed. You can use Facebook completely free. So head on over to thrivinglaunch.com, opt into my Profit from Social Media course. I'm going to teach you the free methods to using Facebook to make money today.
As a communicator and Ramsey personality, Rachel Cruze has been speaking to groups as large as 10,000 people. She's the daughter of Dave Ramsey, and she is the one who helps keep everyone out of debt. She's a #1 New York Times bestselling author, and we're so excited to have Rachel on the show.
All right, welcome to Thriving Launch. Rachel, are you ready to launch?
I am ready. Well, thanks you guys, first and foremost, for having me on. I appreciate it.
I love it. I love the work that you're up to. I love the work that your dad's been up to. Both of you have really had an impact on me because, I've had terrible money habits for most of my life. And this is a subject that most of us don't want to talk about. This is a subject matter that, we're willing to talk about everything from the sun to the moon and everything in between. But money just seems to be one of those things that just terrifies most people and is so taboo. And I'm curious to ask you, why do you think money is that one thing that you just absolutely can't talk about it?
Well, I feel like for a lot of couples, or people, statistically speaking, struggle with this area in general. And so when there's something in life you struggle with, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to vocalize that because that's no fun. And I think too that money reveals parts of us. It's more than just money. And so when you look at, how you spend your money, it's really showing you what, your values in life, your dreams, your fears. And so it's a lot more of a vulnerable subject than just talking about dollars and cents, because there's hearts and minds behind it. And again, when it's something that people struggle with, it's just not a fun topic to dive into, but it's something that everyone, no matter where you are on the map, if you are struggling or if you feel like you have a handle on it, no matter who you are, we can always improve on our money habits and really take this subject and not let it be a shameful, hopeless subject, but really a subject of hope in our lives.
This is so cool. I love how you're shaping it out for us. And one thing that I know that you talk about in your book is 7 money habits. And I'd love to hear some of those money habits from you to live without debt or stress or worry.
Yeah, I think one of the habits that is probably the most prevalent that I see in our world today in regards to our money, and something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's the idea of being able to quit the comparisons. Because the comparison game in today's world, it is magnified because of social media. And we get a picture and a glimpse into everyone else's life. And we only put the best parts of our life on social media, right? It's everyone's highlight reel. And so because of that, we think that everyone is living this amazing life. And so we end up spending money that we may not have to keep up a lifestyle that we think everyone else is living and we're missing out on. So not only does the comparison trap affect our joy, affect our contentment, affect our heart and our gratitude, but it affects our paycheck as well. And so I think that's a habit that a lot of people don't focus on. But gosh, it's one of the big parts of my book. The title is "Love Your Life, Not Theirs." So the comparison is woven all through that book. But it is a key part of our money habits that we have to get in line so that we can reduce our debt, stress, and worry.
Well, with social media taking over and being such a big piece of most people's lives, right? So we're currently on vacation with my family. There's 18 of us here in Maui. It's incredible. We're having an amazing time.
Wow. Y'all are living it up.
We are. We really are.
That's awesome.
It's such a pleasure. And it's because we've learned healthy money habits that we've been able to save and be able to take the family out like this. And one of the things that blew me away is, so some of my nephews are here, and some of them are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're like, add me on Snapchat, and yeah, let's meet up on Instagram. And I'm like, you guys are like 4 or 5 years old. How do you have Snapchat? And I'm curious from you, because social media is taking over. Can be so overwhelming and time consuming, this comparison trap. What's one of the things that you can help us kind of learn not to do that? Personally, I know that I can do that. I go on social media sometimes. I'm like, dang it, that person is just, wow, they're having such an amazing life. I need to work harder today. Right. How do we get out of that comparison trap, especially so that our finances aren't being hurt?
Well, I think one thing that I've applied in my life, and again, this kind of deals more with the heart issue, because you can put boundaries on yourself with social media. Only say, we're only going to look at it, between these hours, or if I get home, I'm going to put the phone away. I mean, there's some really applicable things that you can put in your life to really help, more tactical things. But overall, more of the emotional umbrella, if you will. I have found working on my gratitude in life helps me so much, because I've learned that in a heart filled with gratitude, there is no room for discontentment and comparisons. And I've started actually a gratitude list on my phone, which sounds kind of cheesy, but in the mornings, I used to just grab my phone and I would check email and text messages and Instagram and Twitter, and I would have my phone up to my face before my feet even touched the ground. And about a year ago, I stopped that habit, because I was like, what am I doing? Like, even before I get out of bed, I'm diving into other people's lives right now. And so what I did is I just started to write down 2 things I'm grateful for every day on my phone. And so for me, when I open up the Instagram, or I look on the Facebook, and whether it's a mom who looks like she's killing it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kid's running around naked around the living room right now, like I can't even seem to get that under control. Or it's someone, in their career, and they've, in my line of work, it's like they've launched a book and it's like gone crazy and all this stuff. I mean, it's so easy for comparison to creep in. And so for me, I go back to that list. And I go back and I say, okay, here is everything I'm grateful for. And honestly, for me, that spirit of gratitude that I have to work on a daily basis, but I do, it really does breed contentment, which helps me quit the comparisons.
Oh, that's so important. And gratitude is something that so many of our guests talk about. And I have to say that one thing that I've been doing lately is I haven't even told anyone this yet, but every day I make a point to reach out to a fellow entrepreneur, someone else who is doing amazing things with their life, and send them some kind of deep message of gratitude, some genuine message of gratitude. And it's been so good for our business. I haven't, and I'm not doing it for business purposes, but, we can, instead of comparing ourselves, finding ways to have gratitude for what that person's doing. And I find I feel like I'm boosted to their level, they're boosted to my level, and it's such an amazing process of reciprocity.
Yes, I love that, because celebrating other people's wins, I mean, there's not people in life that do that with you very well, right? I mean, it's so easy to critique and to look and to compare, but when you can be someone in someone's life like you're doing right now, you're stepping into that. I mean, people long for those kind of relationships. And I think people that are doing exactly what you're doing, where you extend and you're grateful and you're celebrating, and you really this open hand mentality when it comes to your career, your money, your time, whatever it is. People like that, they thrive in life. Speaking of, your podcast, but really, I mean, it's amazing. People that are givers and that serve and that celebrate with people, I mean, they have better quality relationships. They're happier. They're more joyful, because they choose not the other emotions. They're choosing to step into the space and to celebrate and be excited for people. So I think that that's such an amazing thing. And those people that are getting that encouragement, gosh, I mean, it's infectious. I mean, it's an amazing thing when we are a culture of comparison and really being, critical, when you can be the opposite, gosh, that so much flourishes. So that's amazing. I love that.
Don't hate, congratulate.
That's it. I love it.
Makes me think of, I was flipping through the channels one time, and this pastor was talking about something, and for some reason I was captivated. So I stopped and I had to listen for a moment. One of the things he said is gratitude is the seed of abundance. And that's always stuck with me. I don't know who originally said that, but I absolutely love that. I want to dive into something with you here, though. It's the B word, something that you and your dad talk about constantly, and most of us are afraid of it. It makes us shiver and quiver, and it's something that we don't usually want to dive into, and that's budget. That's checking how much we've spent. That's checking how much we have in the bank account. And Lord knows I've been terrible at it. I've had hundreds of overdraft fees, it feels like, because I've been so afraid of doing that. How do we even start to feel okay with just checking our finances? Like, most of us are afraid because we know we have so little in there, so we avoid it. And we're afraid of doing budget because it feels so constraining. How do we start getting a hold of that and create a mindset where maybe it's even going to be a good thing to look at how much money I have and how much money I'm spending and figuring out where money is going and not going?
I think that's a great point, because when I talk to people when it comes to their budget, they really fall into three buckets. One is intimidation, and they're like, oh, I don't even know where to begin. One is denial, like what you're talking about, right? Where it's like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to look because it's probably bad, so I don't even want to know. And then I talk to people around the budget where they say, gosh, I feel like if I live on a budget, that means I can't have fun and that it's cheap and I have to find everything on a budget, and that's not fun. And so what I do is I try to debunk all those myths, because you have to be in control of your money in order to win. And to be in control means you have to know what you have. And so that fear of gosh, it's probably really bad, you have to push through that, because you have to be able to look at everything you have and take an assessment and say, okay, this is what this is real. This is reality. This is my life. I have to take control of this aspect in order to go further. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. And so you have to change what you've been doing. And for a lot of people, that is living on a budget. And for me, I am a natural spender. I am a free spirit. So the budget, honestly, is one of the hardest parts of personal finance that I've really had to ingrain in myself, because I don't naturally lean that way. And so for me, I've learned, though, doing it and pushing through those emotions and really living on a plan. After doing that for a few months, it really became a habit in my life, so much so that I realized one day that a budget doesn't limit my freedom. A budget gives me freedom. I mean, it gives me permission to spend. It gives me permission to do the things that I value, because in your budget, you get to control it. You get to say, hey, here is where I want my money to go. Now, there's obviously bills and that kind of thing that you have to pay. You can't get behind on that. But over the scope of the month, you get to say, okay, no, we want to go out to eat more, or no, we want to be home with the family. We want to go shopping. Like, you get to decide what to do with your money. And living on a budget allows you that permission and allows you that freedom, because never again will you get to the cash register at the grocery store or at the mall, wherever you are, and second guess your purchase and think, gosh, should this money be going somewhere else? Should I be doing something else with this money? All of those questions are answered because you have planned out and you've said, this is exactly where my money's going. And I look at people just in every area of their lives, and people that win, whether it's in business, whether it's in their marriages, their parenting, no matter where they are, people that win are intentional. They happen to that part of their lives. They go to marriage counseling, they do date nights, or they work on their business, and they put people in place in order to win. I mean, they are so focused and so intentional. And money is the same way. You have to be focused and you have to be intentional. You have to happen to your money instead of your money happening to you. And honestly, the budget, that is it. I mean, that's your answer to really gaining control of your money.
How do we, I hear this so often, and yet I think about former me, especially before Kamala, because one of the things, it's really true. Kamala is one of my best money habits, is being with her, and I feel very fortunate. There's this book called The Millionaire Next Door. And,
yes.
and one of the things that they talked about, that all of these millionaires that they decided to place in their book and interview and study, their partners were frugal partners. And I feel very fortunate that Kamala is that way. But you have another thing there, because I don't know if everybody's going to be that fortunate where their partner is going to be a frugal partner. But one of the things that that you and your dad talk about is spending cash and allocating cash in envelopes. And that really helps. And I know that's something that Kamala does, is that she's really into using cash and understanding where the cash is going, so that we're not using this card. There's this thing that seems to be highly promoted in our society is spend it on a credit card, and you have to go somewhere and log in to figure out what you've spent, and use it on a debit card and you have to go to the bank or log in. Like there's this thing where we don't want to look at what's happening with our money.
Yeah. And cash reveals it all, right? I mean, it shows you have a lot right here you can spend, or it's getting very limited. And so you have to cut back. And so it's a great accountability partner in that regard. And so, yeah, when you look at your budget, look at the categories that you tend to overspend on and look and say, okay, here's out to eat, here's groceries, here's clothes, here's whatever it is, and cash those out and do exactly what you're saying, Kamala, is put them in envelopes, or even I actually came out with my own wallet just a few weeks ago because as a woman, I was like, these dang envelopes, I can't carry a cute wallet.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, so you need to look at it because I hope you like it. It's now the clip system that I put in place and designed an actually cute wallet to put all my categories in. And so for that, though, it's amazing because when you use cash, not only is it a good accountability partner, but also it's harder to spend with cash because there's no emotion when you spend with plastic. Even a debit card is a little different because there's actually cash in the bank leaving, but especially with a credit card. And you look and you say, okay, emotionally, it hurts. Carnegie Mellon, they did a study that showed that when you spend with cash, your brain actually registers pain. And the pain cells in your brain light up when you spend with cash because it hurts. There's an exchange that has to happen. You have to let go of that $20, $50 bill, $100 bill to gain something else. And so there's an exchange happening. Your emotions are driven up. And so it's really good because it makes you check to say, okay, is this really what I want to buy? Versus just swiping something and be like, oh yeah, I'll pick up the guy behind me. Don't worry about it. There's not a lot of emotion there. And so the spending with cash is a great everyday tool that everyone can implement, and it really does help, especially for us spenders. And I'm the spender of my marriage. My husband is definitely more of the saver. And so for me as the spender, not only does it, give me that permission to spend, like we talked about earlier, to say, okay, I can go out to eat. I can go out to lunch because here's cash. I have it. But again, it does make me second guess and rethink that purchase because I have to let go of that cash.
That's so great. We're definitely going to be linking to your wallet so everybody can get theirs. This is so fantastic. And, I love how the way you framed it, Louise, that there's like a spender and someone who's more frugal, because that's such an important balance to play. And, just a little tip, if you're looking at dating someone, are they the spender? Are you you don't want to have two spenders in a relationship.
Right. Yeah, know your money personality for sure.
I didn't know how much of a spender Louise was, but don't worry, you've been corrected.
I feel like the girl in the relationship right now.
No. It's funny because as I talk to couples everywhere, I'm like, it's not even the girl or the guy that's the spender or saver. It's, all the above. But it's funny. Opposites attract, and it's true even with our money.
Yeah. I got to say, my claim to fame, I think, is I'm 33 and I've never been in debt, and I think that's,
I love it.
I think that's really important. And one thing that has helped me keep out of debt is to know what I want and work hard towards getting that thing. So, I've been traveling the world since I was 15, and I've always been able to pay my way because I earned the money ahead of time. I had the goal, and I worked towards it. And what's your thoughts on that? That's not everybody's, some people say, yeah, just get in debt, but know how to budget it out. What's your thoughts on it, Casey?
Yeah, I think when you play with snakes, you're going to get bit. And so the idea that I can outsmart the credit card company or outsmart the car loan, it's not going to work. These people know what they're doing. And so do people pay their credit cards off every month? Sure. Yeah. But the average family in America today has $16,000 that they owe on their credit cards. So statistically speaking, the average family does not pay it off every month. And so again, I look at it, I'm like, you know what? If you play with snakes, you're going to get bit. So I'm just like you, girl. I take no part in the debt world either. So whether it's a car, something really expensive, we save up and pay cash for it. Even if it's just a used car, we're good with that. We will not go into debt for it. And same with purchases and vacations, because debt is, my friend Chris Hogan says this, and it's so true. Debt is a thief. It not only steals your income from you, but it steals your peace of mind. It steals your sleep at night. And when you owe someone something, the reason you go to work, the reason you do things changes because suddenly you owe someone something, whether it's Sally Mae or it's the bank, whatever it is. And so that changes so much of your life and the emotional state as well. And that's, again, what people don't talk about. They talk about interest rates and, well, if I pay this off and then I invest this and borrow on that. And I'm like, okay, forget the math and everything for a second. Imagine if you had no payments. What if you got to the end of the month and you had no one to pay? I mean, it changes so much. It changes probably what job you're in. I mean, it changes the way you eat. I mean, it changes so much of our lives. And so being able to have that freedom is something that I'm very passionate about, and living debt free, because I was born the year my parents filed for bankruptcy. And so the bottom of the bottom, I was born in April and they filed in September. And so my whole life, I watched them dig themselves out of this financial hole. And as a family, that value is drilled into me that no matter what, mom and dad are not putting us back here. No matter what, we're going to be a one-car family if we have to. No matter what, dad's going to work overtime to pay the bills. No matter what, we are not borrowing money. And so that scar that's healed now, but is on our family's legacy forever. And it's nothing to be ashamed of, but I think it's something for my generation to look at and say, you know what, I'm going to take the mistakes my parents made and do it different, be different and say, you know what, I don't have to make those mistakes to do well with my money. I don't have to make devastating mistakes to be wise with money. I can do this. I can make these decisions. And is it hard? Yeah, sure. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, do we want to stay in a nicer hotel on vacation sometimes? Yeah. I mean, do I want to upgrade my car sooner than I can? Sure. But being able to say no in the present and not give in to that instant gratification allows you to live a life in the future of one that you really, really value and you want. Because when your income's not going out to payments, you're able to invest more. You're able to give more. You're able to spend more. You're able to do so much more things versus sending half your income to Visa and your car loan. And so when I look at it mathematically and emotionally, I've made a decision in my own life, and my husband as well, as a married couple now, that we are not going to borrow money. So, girl, I am with you all the way.
I love it.
Cheerleader.
Love it.
I love what you just said, and just a personal story too for everybody listening, because I know that these companies that have credit and want you to buy off their credit and take loans from them, they sound very enticing. They really want to pull you in because they know the value of a customer, statistically speaking. So, 80, 90, 99%, whatever it might be, it's a high percentage of people that will take out that loan, take out that debt so they can have the goodies now, and then they'll be paying off double that amount. So for them, it's very worthwhile to make that enticing. And, something that I want to say to you and your dad is you guys got me in trouble, because I went to this big event. It was this huge conference for it was called the Millionaire Mind or something like that. And the guy was talking about this money habit, and he said, well, pay for everything on credit and then, go into your account and pay it off right away and collect the points. And he was, talking about what a great idea this was. And I ended up standing up at one point and saying, I don't think that's a very good idea because I've gotten in trouble with that. And I thought I was going to buy all these cool things and have all these points racked up. But then I ended up having to pay off all these debts and accumulated debt. And so I personally think that it's better to spend in cash and really budget what you have and know it, and not do this method that you're talking about. And the guy's response, he really jabbed me. He said, well, I'll send you a postcard from Maui with my free ticket. And I want to tell people that this credit card thing, it's part of what's gotten the United States in trouble, is borrowing and constantly doing debts. And we're living with that. So I highly recommend that everybody check out Rachel Cruze's work, her dad's work as well, Dave Ramsey, because both of you have really helped myself and a lot of people that I know around me really figure out this money thing, and you guys tell it in a way that no one else does. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Kamala, you want to close this out?
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. We've been talking about money habits. It's been so great to have you all here.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I so appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there. Be sure to tune into the next episode where we talk about women in leadership. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, leave us 5 gold stars on iTunes and subscribe.